This is a Laverda 750 SF1. Back in the early 70s, this was about as good as motorcycles got. This was one of the fastest road bikes you could buy. If you were a young guy wanting to go fast, you would have been choosing between one of these or maybe the equivalent Ducati. 66 horsepower at 7,300 RPM is no joke. Back then that was really fast. The bikes were modern, came in cool colours and I don't know why this guy's wearing white pants. One puddle or speck of oil and it's all over. This guy's got it going on. Black leather, impressing a woman with his motorcycle knowledge. Moto Laverda started making motorbikes in 1949. Small runabouts for the Italian market. Good bikes, good reputation. In 1965 they decided to develop a large bike for international markets. It was to be a fast, prestigious motorcycle. Very briefly released as a 650cc bike and then quickly increased to 750, the new bikes developed about 53 horsepower. They were fast, modern and reliable. A year later, the 750S came along, producing about 60 horsepower. And then in 1970, the famous 750 SF. SF refers to the huge brakes, super freni. In 1973, they released the SF1, a little bit more horsepower and some other minor changes. In 74, the SF2 got disc brakes on the front. And in 76, the final evolution, the SF3, got a disc brake on the back and modern cast alloy wheels. And alongside these standard bikes, there was the SFC, C for competition. They sold around 500 of these in total, and nowadays they are very desirable bikes. So the 750 SF was a great success, and Laverda had established themselves in the motorcycle world as one of the major brands. But by 1985, it was all over. During the mid-70s, big bikes increased in capacity, and 1 litre became the new standard. Laverda modified their 750 twin, releasing a 1 litre triple in 1975. And this was a good motor. In fact, the Jota, or Jota, was the fastest production bike in the world. By 1980, the Japanese had well and truly arrived, and all 4 major manufacturers were selling their own 1 litre bikes. Laverda knew they couldn't compete with the rapid development coming out of Japan. They continued to release models based around the 1 litre triple. The motor was aging, but still powerful enough, although by the end, numbers had dropped down to just a few hundred big bikes per year. But they were still selling a lot of small bikes in Italy. In fact, they were doing pretty well. In '84, they averaged 900 bikes per month, more than ever before, and they had 2 mid-sized platforms in development. However, 1985 wasn't a good year in Italy. Nobody bought motorbikes, and without the international sales to get them through, that was that. Now, those of you who follow along will know that I am in no position to be taking on another project. I've got more than enough on my plate. And yet, there's half a Laverda sitting in my garage. Let me explain. The bike belonged to my Uncle Bruce, who passed away. But there's a bit more to it than that. He lived about here, my auntie and cousins still do. My father lives here. No, I am not Australian. Anyway, Dad is a bit of a bike guy, and he remembered Bruce talking about an old motorcycle, possibly a Laverda. He mentioned it to me, and obviously I'm enthusiastic about old machines that don't work, so I'm like, yeah, let's find out. So the next time he was on the phone to my auntie, his sister, he asked her about the bike, and sure enough, it exists. She sent a few photos and said if we want it, we can have it. Now, from the photos, we could see that the bike is obviously missing some stuff. She did send a photo of the seat and tank, but no motor. My auntie was sure it was in the shed somewhere though. And by this stage, Dad had decided that he wanted to take the bike back to Australia. It would be a good little project. So, the plan was, next time he was visiting, we'd drive through to the Waikato, pick the bike up and bring it back to my place. Throw the motor back in, crate it up and ship it over to Australia, where he could fix it up and ride it around. What actually happened was, in the meantime, I had to move a couch. Don't worry about the couch. It's not my couch, has nothing to do with the bike. I just had to move a couch for somebody in the Waikato. Don't worry about it. But since I was over there with the trailer anyway, I arranged to pick up the bike. So the bike was in this shed. My cousin Dean was there helping. We moved the bike out, put it on the trailer, easy. And then we're looking around for the motor. And you know, a 750cc motor is a pretty big object. We should have been able to see it. And Dean's moving little bits of wood and shifting boxes. And I remember saying to him, it's a big thing. It should be obvious. And I'm beginning to have my doubts that the motor's even here. And then Dean yells out, "Found it!" And I run over, and there he is dragging out a collapsed cardboard box with two very crusty looking pistons sticking out. It was pretty funny. Here I was looking for this big motor, and in fact the motor was 100 pieces spread across half a dozen cardboard boxes. At this point I was thinking, Dad's not going to want this. And that was always a possibility. If he didn't want it, I would keep it. That was the plan. Anyway, get the bike back to my place, and I call him. FaceTime or Messenger, I don't know, one of those video ones. So I'm showing him the bike and the boxes. And I can see, clear as day, that the original plan to quickly throw the bike back together was not going to happen. And ultimately, Dad decided not to take the bike. He just wasn't looking for this kind of project. A major restoration that could easily cost more than the bike's worth. So that is how I ended up with a Laverda motorcycle. And now I've got to make sure that this bike gets back on the road. Now what is going on? Why is this motorbike in 1,000 pieces? Well, I don't know. But here's what I know so far. Bruce had the bike for a while. I don't know how long, but he didn't just buy it recently. It did run during his ownership, and apparently he couldn't get a part to put it back together. So I guess we can expect that there's something missing from this pile of pieces that might not be available. And that's about it. That's what I know about the bike so far. Now I did set aside some paperwork that was mixed in with the parts, so let's start there. An original user manual. I have another copy. I think this is the Italian version. Yeah. I have an English copy that was stored in their house. I've got that upstairs. Moto Ciclismo, Italian Motorcycle Owners Club. There you go. That's how much a Laverda cost in New Zealand in, I guess, about 1980. Okay, now this is a little more interesting. So this is an actual list of parts that were ordered. Unfortunately, no date. Bearing, header pipe, balance pipe. And I know this goes with this bike because I have some of these. But the interesting part about this, Laverda. This was early 80s or earlier. But we have in here receipts. Carburetor parts, no date. This. Dear Sir, I wish to advise you we have just received from Laverda the carb you have been waiting for, 1 times PHF 36 AD at a cost of $191.62. Regards, Spares Department. 7th of October, 1983. And here it is. Brand new, in the box, as ordered. 83. 19th of the 7th, 82. And there you go. Mr. Bruce, I'm not sure if I'll say the full name on camera, stamped Hamilton, 1982. I think there might be another carburetor in here. Oh, yes there is. And paperwork. Another brand new carburetor. Another envelope with his name on it. We have just received another shipment of Laverda parts which contain an oil pump and ignition switch. Interesting, an oil pump. So this was never a project bike. This was pulled apart when it was almost new. In the early 80s, my uncle would have been in his 20s, I think, cruising along on his Italian sports bike, and I guess something went pop. Pulled it apart to fix it, couldn't get the part he wanted because this was right around the time Laverda were going out of business, and then I guess mortgage, kids came along, and here we are, 40 years later. Alright, so you guys are pretty much caught up with where I'm at with the bike. So let's start by inspecting what we've got going on here before we get into all of those boxes. The bike has done 39,212 miles, which is actually quite a lot considering it was only ridden for a few years. The key works. Not sure if it's coming out, but it works. We'll just leave that for now. And I think there is another key somewhere. I'm not sure about that, but I think I saw another key somewhere. We're also lucky to have the sportier seat version. There was also a flat two-seater option, but the seat has survived really well, so that's good. The tank, well, from the outside, okay, so I don't know what we're doing with this bike yet, but we're not going to be able to polish this paint and have it look brand new because we've got rust bubbling up underneath the paint, unfortunately. And this area here is all pretty badly cracked up, including this middle edge, which is coming apart. But now, let's have a look inside, if we can get in. A new tank is not really an option, so let's hope for the best. Oh boy, okay. It's been closed for a long time. Oh, there we go. Maybe. I'll try and get you in there. I mean, it looks really good, but I can't see all the way down into here, where stuff would be sitting if there was something left in it. It doesn't smell at all, though. I think he drained the fuel. We'll have to wash it out and see if any big chunks fall out, but at least it looks really good. We've obviously got the clip-on bars, I think they're called. The standard bars are a one-piece thing that would finish up here somewhere. I assume this is the choke. Not sure if this bike has indicators or not. It does have a starter motor, so this will be... I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll figure all that out later. Alright, so that's pretty much what's going on with the assembled part of the bike. Toolkit. Full of wrenches and things. No idea if these are original to the bike or not. Superior. I would have expected to see some Italian branded stuff. But anyway, we have a toolkit that was presumably with this bike. Air filter. This is obviously rubbish, but we'll keep it in case we need to measure something. And I guess this is the box. An old Conji exhaust clamp. Definitely keeping this. A mirror. A little damaged, but we can probably fix that. I'm not sure if this is off this bike, because in 73 in New Zealand you didn't have to run a mirror or indicators. So maybe this is, or maybe he was planning to put a mirror on it. Not sure. And some piston rings, which look like they were probably brand new. Not anymore. And it's odd that there's only one set. Second box. So here is the clutch. But we do not appear to have the internals of the clutch. Yeah, at least not yet. Are we missing a horn? Yeah. Okay, well here's the other horn. And a container full of random stuff. I have no idea what half of this is. A piece of wood, probably not from the bike, and I don't think this has anything to do with it either. But here's this newspaper. Tokanui staff fight school closure. July 27, 1985. So that's when he packed all of this up. So yeah, all of the receipts are from 82, 83. I guess by 85 he had given up on whatever part he was waiting for, and it all got put into boxes. Okay, side covers. These are in really good condition apart from the paint. And all of the shiny engine covers. And nothing looks cracked, which is great. Okay, so here's the main head. Alright, nothing looks destroyed.
genuine Laverda piece of random metal, and camshafts. And mouse poo. Here are the rockers. Okay, let's take this stuff up to the bench and have a look. Now, obviously, these are going to need to be reground or replaced because of the rust. But interestingly, if you look at the edge of this cam lobe, try and ignore the rust. But you can see that this was starting to go. This is pretty torn up. Same on here. Yeah. And probably we'll see the same on the rockers. There's a bit of rust there, but yeah, you can see the chrome was starting to lift. That one's not too bad. Oh yeah, look here. So these have a hard chrome finish on them. And you can see here that that started to tear away, where this has been galling with the camshaft. Basically welding itself to the camshaft and then tearing little chunks away, because obviously the camshaft has to keep moving. And this is caused by a lack of lubrication. So I wonder if this motor suffered from low oil pressure, or maybe oil pump failure. Now, I haven't seen any new major engine components in here, so I don't think we're going to find new pistons or new camshafts or anything like that. There's always hope. I have no idea what's in the bottom of these boxes. Mousy. We'll keep that. I think we're safe to throw this out. Probably not going to reuse these boxes. Okay. Here are all the nuts and bolts and a piece of perspex. No idea what this is. Don't know. I'll set that aside. Many little containers of nuts and bolts. My auntie was a scientist, and I believe these are all sample containers. But some of them do have motorcycle relevant writing on them too. But I think all the writing on the top is probably to do with water samples pulled out of rivers. Oh, there's a carburetor down there. These must be the original ones, which is odd. It's odd that you would replace these. Carburetors are pretty easy and economical to rebuild. I'm not sure, unless the new ones are larger or something. Don't know. What's in here? Fiat! Oh. Some grommets. Okay. Oh, this is the original Warrant of Fitness tag holder. Let's have a look. Okay, so assuming we haven't lost any off the top, the last Warrant of Fitness was 11th of October 1981. Gordonton Garage. Wonder if we can get to any of the older ones. Okay, so here's one from 78. Yeah, anyway, I was thinking that the oldest one was probably the first one under his ownership. Yeah, but I can't really see any details. Oh! Aha! A chain. A new chain. Oh, don't lose the link. Oh, yes. Okay, look at this. Another key. And cylinders. And on first inspection, there appear to be 0 broken fins, which is great. And I think this box is the most mousy for some reason. No idea. Got to be careful because there was stuff wrapped up in these. So I don't want to throw anything out, but... Okay, this one's a bit smelly. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, I see why it smells mousy. How are you doing down there, buddy? We'll leave him be. Try and work around him. Oh, it's pretty gross in here. Oh, the smell. Oh, it's bad. Oh, transmission stuff. That's good. Okay, I had to put on a mask, which is really good because I haven't changed the filters in forever. So now I can smell paint fumes instead of mouse. Actually, it's more like mousy paint fumes. Oh, get off there. Oh, there's more clutch. Okay, that's good. You just stay there, buddy. Do not jump out at me. Oh, see. Very easy to lose tiny parts like this. That's a bearing cover for a trailer or something. Oh, okay, here we go. Clutch plates, I think. Yep. Okay, good. Oh. Okay, sorry buddy, you're gonna have to move. He's stuck to the cloth. Oh, some of this stuff is not going to be salvageable, I don't think, but we'll see. Okay, I think that's it. No. Do any of you want to double check that we got everything? No, no volunteers. Original Laverda. There's an insect. A brand new, genuine tail light. And a very chewed up invoice. Now what do we have in here? There's a bearing. Oh, okay. Wow, there's lots of new stuff in this bag. Seals. Yeah, all of this stuff is new, I think. Cable things. An ignition switch. Another receipt for $2.60. Look at that old Repco logo. Starter freewheel inner. Pioneer Western. I just put a Pioneer Western rear main seal in a Land Rover motor. Okay, lots of good stuff here. It's a bearing. Cam bearings. Right hand crank. I know that one of these big crankshaft bearings is worth a few $100s now. So hopefully it's one of the ones that we've got down here. Bearing Specialist Hamilton. $4.73. Fiat parts. Oh, I don't know what that is. Lancia. No idea what that is. Oh, okay, we'll leave that there for a second. Piece of rubber hose. The other spark plug. And I believe this is an oil pump. Yep, so there it is. Brand new, still wrapped up oil pump. All right, there's still more bags. One more. Ah. And in a tube for a bicycle. All right, cool. There is some old stuff down the bottom here too. A Honda foot peg. Get out of my face, Honda. This looks like an exhaust hanger, not off this bike. Oh, and a new head gasket. Cool. There's still more. We have one of these things. I'm not sure what these are called. Bull bar. Bull bar for a motorcycle. Not sure why we have that, but we do. And this the exhaust system. Hang on a second. We have a brand new, still wrapped up exhaust system. At least the front half. And here's the famous big crossover pipe that goes underneath. But, hang on a second. You think I'm about to bring over mufflers, don't you? No, we don't have mufflers, unfortunately. What we do have is something much cooler than mufflers. We have a genuine, brand new SFC exhaust system. I have no idea why he had both, but this is pretty cool. You can see the competition systems had this kind of satin finish. And the chrome, of course, is 5-minute chrome, meaning it's probably not going to last 5 minutes out in the weather, but this is the way they did it. There's another box down in there that was too collapsed for me to get out in one piece. Now, I don't think there's anything new and exciting in here, but there is the crankshaft and the pistons, which are kind of important. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Without cleaning all the corrosion off, it's pretty hard to gauge the condition of all of this. Okay, so what's the plan? Well, I have no idea. To start with, I need to get everything clean. So that's what we're going to do first. And while we're doing that, future me can tell you guys what we're going to do with the bike next. He'll know because he's from the future. All right, let's go. Okay, here's what we're not doing. We're not launching into a full-on, make everything perfect restoration project. There's just no way. Money, time. I've got to finish this before I think about another project like it. But I can't just leave the bike sitting around in pieces deteriorating like it is now. We've got to do something. So here's the plan. I'm going to put the bike back together, more or less with what we have sitting here. That doesn't necessarily mean a rideable bike, but I need to put everything together anyway just to see what's missing, what needs fixing, like a stock take. What does that mean for the motor? I don't know. A typical engine build for one of these is going to cost more than $5,000, probably closer to 10, just in parts and machining. Maybe we can do it for a lot less just to get it fired up, but I don't want to risk using parts that should be replaced and then throw a rod through the crankcase or anything silly like that. In saying that, having a complete bike that works would be a much better starting point for a restoration project than where we are now. So I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, goal 1, I think, is to get everything clean and put the bike back together.
Alright, there we go. All nice and clean-ish. It's pretty clean. You can touch it without catching something at least. And no more old cardboard boxes. Everything's cleaned and mostly wrapped up. All of the little bits that were in those containers are now separated out. And I did transfer any writing, so hopefully we'll figure most of this out. This is the question mark. It's hard to imagine these going back into a motor. Figuring this out, I think that'll be the first thing we do from here. But for now, that's it. Who doesn't like starting a new project? Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you next time.